I genuinely believe I found the woman of my dreams, and because of that, it honestly hurts to watch so many guys settle for relationships with women who just aren't right for them. And I don't think it's because there are no good women left or good women don't exist anymore, which is a popular belief these days for some reason. I just think a lot of guys just convince themselves that they don't have any other options, so they settle for the first person who gives them attention. For a long time, I thought modern dating was completely broken too. I looked around and thought, is this really all there is? Are these the options? Like, am I gonna have to marry someone ugly just because I need somebody that has my values? But the more I've experienced dating myself, the more I've realized that's not actually true. Dating isn't hopeless. Most guys are just approaching it the wrong way. So today I want to show you how to find, date, and eventually marry the best woman you possibly can. I want to start by talking about why it feels like there aren't so many good women out there, because honestly, I get it. If you're a guy who's been single for a while, you've probably looked around and thought, is this seriously my dating options? I used to think that too. But I think there are a couple reasons it feels way worse than it actually is. And the first one is social media. Social media has completely distorted the way we see dating. Think about what actually goes viral. Is it the girlfriend who respects her boyfriend? Is it the wife who supports her husband? Is it the healthy couple that communicates well and has a great relationship? No, it never is, and we all know that to be true. The craziest clips are the ones that get the millions of views, the most delusional opinions, the biggest arguments, and the people acting completely senile and insane. That's what gets clicks. The algorithms aren't trying to show you what's normal, they're trying to show you what keeps you watching. So, after seeing hundreds of those clips, it's easy to start believing that's the average woman and that's what it's actually like out in the real world. That's like assuming every guy's an idiot because you watched enough TikTok fight videos or TikTok dumb idiot videos where dudes are jumping off balconies, dudes are jumping off roofs, dudes are jumping off anything, really, right? You're seeing the loudest people, not the most common person. The second reason is where a lot of guys are looking. If you're spending every weekend trying to meet women at bars, clubs, or random parties, don't be surprised when you're not finding someone who shares your values. How can you meet an amazing woman there? Now, can you meet an amazing woman there? Sure, absolutely. Just like there are a lot of good women on social media too, but that's not where the odds are in your favor. If your goal is to find someone to marry someday, you should probably spend more time looking in places where women with similar values actually spend their time. Too many guys say there are no good women left, but I'd ask a different question. What are you looking for? Where are you looking? What pool are you fishing in? Because if all of your opinions about women come from rage bait podcasts, viral TikToks, and the handful of girls you meet at the parties and the basements of sororities and fraternities that you're making out with, then of course you're going to think dating is hopeless. There are plenty of incredible women out there. The challenge isn't that they don't exist, the challenge is that most guys are searching in the wrong places. But before we can actually find our high quality woman and our girlfriend of our dreams, we have to answer a much more important question. What are we even looking for? Because if you don't know what you're looking for, you honestly are no different than the guy who goes to bars, clubs, and parties hoping to randomly bump into his future wife. You're just hoping. You're just hoping the girl you meet happens to have good values. You're just hoping she's loyal. You're just hoping she has relationship material. That's not a strategy. It's frankly just kind of guessing. So before we even talk about where to find a great woman, we have to define what a great woman actually is. Now this gets a little tricky because some of it is completely subjective. Everyone wants something a little different. Maybe you want somebody who's introverted. Maybe you want someone who's outgoing. Maybe physical fitness is really important to you. Maybe shared hobbies matter a lot. Maybe you prefer blonde hair. Maybe you don't. Those aren't right or wrong. Those are simply preferences, but they're the things that matter to you. You should absolutely be attracted to the person you're dating. You should have compatible personalities, you should have similar values, and a similar vision for life. Those things matter. But beyond all the preferences, I think there are a few qualities that almost everyone should agree are non-negotiable. And the first one for me is trust. Can you genuinely trust this woman? If she's out with her friends, are you consistently worried about what she's doing? Does she tell lies? Because here's the thing, people who lie about little things often have no problem lying about the big things. Trust isn't just about cheating. It's about knowing that when she says something, you believe her. I can honestly say that if I put my girlfriend with a bunch of other guys and she was surrounded by a bunch of other attractive guys, I wouldn't spend a second worrying about her cheating on me, and that peace of mind is priceless. The second quality I think is important is respect. Does she genuinely respect you? Does she encourage you when you're chasing your goals? Does she build you up instead of tearing you down? Does she speak highly of you when you're not around? Those are big questions. A healthy relationship shouldn't feel like you're fighting each other. You should be on the same team, which should be obvious, but for some people it's not. You both want what's best for each other because what's best for one of you is usually best for the relationship as a whole. And finally, the final thing is love. Now, I know that sounds obvious. Of course you want someone who loves you, but I think we've watered down what love actually means. Love isn't making out. Love isn't holding hands. Love isn't sex. Love is choosing each other when things aren't easy. It's working through disagreements instead of running away. It's showing up on the days when it's inconvenient. Real love isn't just a feeling, it's a commitment. So yes, everyone is going to have their own preferences when it comes to the person they marry. But if you start with trust, respect, and genuine love, you're already looking for someone who has the foundation of a truly high-quality relationship. But now that we've talked about what you're looking for, the next question is obvious. Where do I actually find the woman of my dreams? Because everything we've talked about is great on paper. You can make all the lists of the qualities you want, all you want, right? But eventually, you're gonna have to go out in the real world and meet this girl. And I know that's the hard part. Let's start with where I wouldn't put most of my effort. Bars, clubs, random parties, sorority and fraternity basements. Can you meet an amazing woman there? Sure, absolutely. People meet in all kind of different ways. But if your goal is to find someone who shares your values and you're intentionally looking for a future wife, I don't think those places give you the best odds. Instead, I'd start with something much more simpler. Go where your interests are. I'll use myself as an example. I would like to think I'm a pretty devout Christian, and my faith is one of the biggest parts of my life. I'm also a finance major. Those just happen to be the two places where I got to know my girlfriend. We originally met through a finance class, and we later connected more at a worship night. Think about that. Two of the biggest parts of my life naturally introduced me to one of the biggest blessings in my life. And I don't think that's a coincidence. I've seen the same thing happen in my friends' lives as well. One of my other close friends met his fiance in a college class. I know other couples who met through mutual friends because they already were spending time around people with similar values and interests. So let me ask you something. What do you genuinely enjoy to do? If you love hiking, join a hiking group. If you love pickleball, go play pickleball. If you enjoy volunteering, volunteer. If your faith is important to you like me, get involved at your church and other things. If you're still in college, don't ignore the opportunities that literally might be sitting next to you in class. The point isn't that one specific hobby magically produces great relationships. You shouldn't change yourself to meet people. The point is that you need to put yourself around people who already have something in common with you. And that's a much better foundation than hoping some random person you meet at a club, thinks the same things that you think. That being said, the other thing is this. You actually have to put yourself out there. I think a lot of guys spend years wishing they had a girlfriend while spending almost all their free time at home. Then they wonder why nothing changes. Relationships don't usually come knocking at your front door. You have to give yourself opportunities to meet people. And when you meet someone you're interested in, eventually, you're gonna have to make a move. Maybe it's just introducing yourself in class. Maybe it's asking for her number. Maybe it's asking if she'd like to grab coffee sometime. Probably going to be uncomfortable. It's pretty much uncomfortable for any guy who's ever had to ask out any girl. But if you're waiting until you're never nervous, you're going to be waiting a very long time. At some point, you're gonna have to take the chance. Because you never know, the girl you've been praying for might be one conversation away. That being said, let's say you've made your list, you know what you're looking for, you've met a girl who seems great, awesome, but don't make the mistake of thinking you've already found the one. Because there are amazing women in those environments I talked about earlier, and there are also unhealthy people in those environments too. Just because someone likes to go hiking, goes to church, or shares one of your hobbies doesn't automatically mean you're compatible. You still have to figure out who they really are. And that's why I think one of the biggest mistakes some people make when dating is avoiding the hard conversations. I get it, they're uncomfortable. You finally met someone you're excited about, she's attractive, she's fun to be around, and everything feels exciting. The last thing you want to do is bring up serious topics. But here's what usually happens. People avoid those conversations because they don't want to ruin the honeymoon phase. Then 6 months go by, a year, they're deeply attached, and only then do they realize they completely disagree on things that were always going to matter. Now, instead of walking away from someone they barely know, they're trying to walk away from someone they love. That's a whole lot harder. So my advice is simple. Ask the hard questions early. When my girlfriend and I first started getting to know each other, we didn't wait months to talk about the important stuff. We talked about our faith, our values, and money. We talked about what we wanted in our futures and what we wanted to look for in a family that we were, of course, going to build together. Because if we were moving in completely different directions, I'd rather know that in the first few weeks than 6 months later. Those conversations might be awkward, but they could definitely save a lot of heartbreak too. The other thing I'd encourage you to do is pay attention to her actions. Anyone can say the right things. Character shows up in what people consistently do. Behavior is a language. Is she trustworthy? Does she respect people? Is she honest? Does she take responsibility when things are wrong or when she's wrong? How does she treat her family? How does she treat waiters, cashiers, or people who do anything for her and can't do anything for her in return? Those little moments tell you a lot more than a perfect first date ever will. Remember the 3 qualities we talked about earlier: trust, respect, and genuine love. Don't just listen for them, but look for them as well. Because eventually, you're going to be choosing someone you're going to spend the rest of your life with. with. You don't want to ignore red flags just because you're excited. Take your time, pay attention, and be honest with yourself. If you realize you're fundamentally incompatible, it's far better to end the relationship earlier than to spend years trying to force something that was never built to last. Dating isn't just about finding someone who likes you. It's about finding someone you can genuinely build a life with, and that's really hard, but you need to figure it out sooner rather than later. Finding a great woman, I'll be honest, can be a little bit luck-based, but it's about becoming intentional over that. Stop letting social media convince you that there are no good women left. Figure out what qualities actually matter to you, put yourself in environments where you're more likely to meet people who share your values, and don't be afraid to ask the hard questions early. Dating isn't about finding the first person who likes you. It's about finding someone who you can genuinely build a future with. That being said, if you enjoyed this video, you'll also want to watch 21 Things That Make You Seem Like a Loser. It covers the habits that quietly ruin your confidence, relationships, and success in your 20s. Click on your screen right now, and I'll see you over there. Thank you for watching.